Good evening.
大家晚安。
It's good to be with you tonight. It's especially good to be with you when we're singing praises to our Lord.
我们非常的荣幸跟弟兄姊妹一同在神面前来歌唱我们的主。
I should say that I'm going to deal with the subject at the end of this message of the fear of the Lord that I was going to deal with this morning. But I also want to deal... I'm sorry, brother. I got carried away. Go ahead.
今天晚上这一讲到末了的时候，我要把早晨没有讲完的再稍微的继续一下。
Tomorrow evening, I want to deal also with the subject of where is Jesus in the book of Proverbs.
那么明天晚上那一堂，我们就说到在箴言书里的基督。
So tonight we'll talk about the two ways and the two women in the book of Proverbs.
那么现在这一堂，我们就说到箴言告诉我们的两种道路和两个女人。
Over 50 years ago, I was standing with my mother and my father along the side of the road.
大约50年以前，我跟我的父母走在路上。
We were on a curve beside the water.
我们是在水边路边上有水的那一个转弯的地方。
A truck had lost part of its load along the rail.
有一个卡车它这个出轨了。
And we were there because we had been given permission to get some of the cargo.
我们停在那儿，因为我们得到允许能够去得到这个卡车上运的一些货物。
I could hear a car coming from a distance, but I knew it was going fast.
我就听见这个铁轨呢上面这个有火车过来，但是好像很远。
And so I told my mother to be sure that she got all the way off the highway.
所以我就提醒我母亲快的这个离开这个高速路。
And she did get all the way over except for her leg.
她很快的挪动她的身体，但是她的腿来不及。
And so for 55, 56 years now, my mother has been an amputee using a wooden or an artificial limb.
所以从50多年以前，我的母亲就必须成了残疾人，那么她就带上人造的就是假的腿。
I was literally standing beside her at the time.
我那个时候我就站在她旁边。
I was a 16-year-old boy.
我那时候16岁。
Why I tell you that story is because there was a cause for that accident.
我为什么跟你们分享这个故事呢？因为这有原因的。
The man who was driving the car
开车的那个男人
either did not know or did not care what the road was like ahead.
这个就是要么就是他不在意这个路前面有什么，或者他根本不知道他转弯以后会碰见什么。
So he came into that curve at a very high rate of speed.
所以在这个转弯的这个路上呢，他还是全速往前。
They never did catch the man who did that.
警方并没有真正最后抓到这个肇事者。
And yet I think it greatly affected my parents and our family for the best.
但是却对着我的父母造成了严重的伤害。
But my point is simply this. Sometimes we don't know what's down the road.
我提出这件事的理由就是很多时候我们不知道往前面有什么。
And not knowing that can cause great trouble.
因为对着前途未知，常常会造成许多的麻烦。
When we come to Proverbs and the two paths, we do know what's at the end of the road.
我们这个来到箴言书里面讲的这两条路的时候，我们却确定的知道说这两条路最后的结果是什么。
There is life at the end of the path of righteousness.
这个义人的路最后引到的是生命。
And there is death at the end of the path of sin.
但是罪人的路去引到灭亡。
Proverbs wants us to know very clearly about those two ends.
箴言这里劝告我们、教导我们要确定的认识这两条路。
And so it tells us that by using two images.
因此他就用两个形象来作为代表。
The one is the image of two paths.
头一个就是两条道路。
And the other is the image of two women.
另外一个就是两位妇女，两位女子。
The two women I call Madam Folly and Dame Wisdom.
这两个妇女我给她起名叫做一个是愚昧的妇女，一个是智慧的妇女。
Now when we come to the Bible, we ought not to be surprised that there are two ways.
我们来读圣经的时候，知道说有两条道路，不是对着我们来讲，读过圣经的人不是一件新的事情。
In the book of Genesis, there are two trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
圣经一开始创世纪就给我们说到有两棵树。
And when Moses gave the law, he made it clear that there were but two ways that Israel could go.
那摩西来写神的律法的时候，告诉百姓也说到这两种的选择。
So listen to this text from Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 19 and 20.
如果你们能够看看《申命记》里头所提到的第30章19、20节。
At the end of his life, Moses says to the Israelites,
在摩西在地上的年日将近终了的时候，他再一次向百姓呼唤。
This day I call the heavens and the earth as witness against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God, listen to his voice, and hold fast to him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land that he swore to give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
我今日呼天唤地的向你做见证，我将生死祸福陈明在你面前，所以你要拣选生命，使你和你的后裔都得存活，且爱耶和华你的神，听从他的话，专靠他，因为他是你的生命，你的日子长久，也在乎他，这样你就可以在耶和华向你列祖亚伯拉罕、以撒、雅各起誓应许所赐的地上居住。
I believe that the book of Proverbs reflects what God says in the law.
我相信箴言书是把律法书中神这一段的话这个映照出来，反映出来。
So we're not surprised to read in Proverbs about being able to live on in the land.
所以我们读箴言书的时候并不觉得会意外。
Listen to these verses in Proverbs chapter 2 verses 21 and 22.
那么我们如果再读一读在箴言书里面的chapter 2
21 and 22.
箴言第2章的21节和we're
2:21 and 22.
21 and 22.
Right.
I think we're
Chapter 2, are we there?
I have the Genesis here. Don't have me.
I'll just read the text and you
All right.
translate it.
Okay, no problem.
For the upright will live in the land, and the blameless will remain in it.
Okay. 你看投影已经出来，这是英文。
Okay.
箴言第2章21、22。
But the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the unfaithful will be torn from it.
正直人必在世上居住，完全人必在地上存留，唯有恶人必然剪除，奸恶的必然拔出。
Now, I didn't put this in your notes, but notice in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verses 14 and 15.
我并没有把这些的经文呢放在你们的这个给你们手上的这个讲义里头，但是看一看约书亚记的第24章。
I'm going to have to look it up too.
Yeah.
Now, therefore, Joshua says to the Israelites, Fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. And if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served, which were beyond the river, or the gods of the Ammonites in the land that you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
约书亚记24章14节，现在你们要敬畏耶和华，诚心实意地侍奉他，将你们列祖在大河那边和在埃及地所侍奉的神除掉，去侍奉耶和华。若是你们以侍奉耶和华为不好，今日就可以选择所要侍奉的，是你们列祖在大河那边侍奉的神呢，是你们所住这地的亚摩利人的神呢？至于我和我家，我们必定侍奉耶和华。
There were two choices here. The choice to either serve the God of Israel or to serve the gods of the lands from which they had come or to which they were going.
这里有两个选择，是侍奉耶和华神呢，还是去侍奉他们所即将要进入的那个当地的那个神。
You remember that Jesus talked about two ways as well.
记得耶稣也说过有两条路。
In Matthew chapter 6, he said, "No man can serve two masters."
马太第6章告诉我们说，没有人能侍奉两个主。
Notice this text in Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14.
我们就注意到在马太第7章这里第 verses
13 and 14.
13、14节。
Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it.
你们要进窄门，因为引到灭亡，那门是宽的，路是大的，进去的人也多；引到永生，那门是窄的，路是小的，找着的人也少。
There were two roads, an easy road and a hard road.
有两条路，一条是容易走的，一条是难走的。
Jesus has encouraged men to take the hard road.
耶稣在这里鼓励人要去走那条难走的路。
We know John 3:16 very well.
我们对于约翰福音3章16节都很熟悉。
And the next verse says this, "Those who believe in the Lord Jesus will escape condemnation, but those who do not are condemned already."
那里告诉我们说，信主耶稣基督的就不至灭亡，而不信他的就必就是被定罪，以至于灭亡。
So I warn you, taking the narrow road does have its costs.
所以我在这里警告你你去选择那个窄路，就有它的那个后果。
One of our next door neighbors was just in college when Pearl Harbor was bombed.
我们所住的地方的邻居他们曾经经历过这个珍珠港事变。
So he decided it would be better to go and sign up than to be drafted.
所以呢，他就想到说，最好他就是从军免得被征兵征上。
His intention was to join the army.
他的打算是加入陆军。
But when he got there, the line for the army was long.
但是他到那个征兵处地方去的时候呢，那个陆军的那条征兵的那个等的那个线的人很多很长。
So he took the short line.
他就参加那个人少的那一组。
And then he became a Marine.
结果他成了海军陆战队的一员。
There are two ways, and one is harder than the other.
有两条路，一条是比另外一条更难的。
So when Proverbs presents two ways,
所以这箴言书给我们两条路。
We have to make a choice between our parents or our peers.
我们需要在父母这条路，或者是我们的同侪给我们这条路中间选择。
You all remember the story of Rehoboam.
你记得这个罗伯安的事情。
Rehoboam was the son of Solomon.
他是所罗门王的儿子。
And Solomon was a harsh taskmaster.
所罗门是一个非常严厉的主人。
So the people of the nation came to Rehoboam and said, "Make life easier and we'll follow you."
所以当人来到这个所罗门王的儿子罗伯安的面前说，让我们能够过得轻松一点吧。
Rehoboam asked for counsel from two groups of people.
那么结果这个他的儿子呢，就去寻求这个他的智谋该怎么做。
The older people, the elders of his father, suggested to him that he should become a servant to the people rather than a harsh taskmaster.
在他父亲的王朝中间，那些老人就建议他应当呢，让百姓能够过这个是容易一点的生活。
But his young friends, his peers, said that he should get tougher yet.
但是他的同彩的这些同时代的青年人却说不，我们得加重他们的做的这个苦工。
And you remember the result was the division of the nation.
你记得，就因为这个建议，以色列国就分裂成为两半。
You can follow the wisdom of those who were elders, or you can follow the counsel of your peers.
你可以接受那些年长的人所给你的智慧，或者是接受你同时代这青年人所给你所说的这一切。
The other choice is between Dame Wisdom and Madam Folly.
另外在这个箴言书里面所说到的是，你可以听从那个智慧的妇人，或听从那个愚昧的妇人。
Two very, very different women.
这是两个完全不一样的妇女。
We've already talked about the danger of pluralism.
我们说过这个去跟随这个多元化的这种思想的这个危险。
Many people have many views, and all of them are correct.
很多人都有他们的意见，那么好像那些意见也都是对的。
That's what pluralism says.
那就是这个多元的这种思想所带进来的。
The Bible says there are two choices and only one is correct.
在圣经告诉我们说，就有两种道路，但是只有一个是对的。
There is another problem within our culture that we need to address.
我们的文化还有另外一方面的错误，我们需要来认识的。
And the question is this: Who is wise?
Who is wise?
Yes.
这个文化就是说谁是比较聪明。
There's a strange view in our world today that will sound very different to you. Strange view, unusual.
那么这个今天这个有很奇怪的这种的观念。
It's a view that's held by many of the intellectuals in our society today.
这是那一些在社会中间搞学问的人所提出来的。
And I think we see it reflected in some of our government officials.
我们想就是因为这些说法，就使得我们今天执政当局呢，就他们的做法的作为里面显出来了。
The view is that those who are young have not yet been corrupted by their society and its institutions.
这个观念就是说，年轻人还没有被社会这个大染缸呢染坏。
And the older people in society have somehow been corrupted so that their wisdom and their judgment is not worth following.
但是这个社会上那些年纪大的人呢，已经在大染缸里面多年了，所以他们是腐败的，所以他们的意见不足作为你参考。
If that's true, brother, you and I are in trouble.
Yeah. We all have gray hair. 如果那是真的话，那我们两个老年人就都有麻烦了。
The Bible says something very different.
圣经所提到的是完全不一样。
But think about the implications of that view.
但是想一想这一种的观念所有的那个应用方面所带下来的影响。
If you think about that in terms of Proverbs, it's dangerous.
如果用箴言来看的话，这种的观念是危险的。
It means you listen to the advice of those who are young and inexperienced.
所以那就是告诉你就听那些年轻的没有经历的人。
And you reject the advice of your elders.
你去拒绝那些有经历的年长的人的话。
Think of the implications of that for our society and for the church.
想一想这一种的情况应用到社会、应用到教会中会怎么样？
So let's follow these two paths, if we can, that are contrasted for us in the book of Proverbs, the way of wisdom and the way of folly.
所以让我们就跟随这一个对照，在箴言书里面所提到的两条路两种妇女所有的光景，我们来看一看箴言。
Let's read Proverbs chapter 1, verses 8 through 14.
我们来读箴言书第1章第
8 through 14.
8到14节。
Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They are a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. My son, if sinful men entice you, do not give in to them. If they say, come along with us, let's lie in wait for innocent blood. Let's ambush some harmless soul. Let's swallow them alive like the grave, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We will get all sorts of valuable things and fill our houses with plunder. Cast lots with us, and we will all share the loot.
我儿要听你父亲的训诲，不可离弃你母亲的法则，因为这要做你头上的华冠，你颈上的金链。我儿，恶人若引诱你，你不可听随从。他们若说你与我们同去，我们要埋伏流人之血，要蹲伏害无罪之人。我们好像阴间把他们活活吞下，他们如同下坑的人，被我们囫囵吞了。我们必得各样宝物，将所掳来的装满房屋。你与我们大家共分，我们共用一个囊袋。
I think we can all agree that these words should make a strong impression on any reader.
我相信任何一个读到这段话的人都会印象很深刻。
And this harsh description is really consistent with the end of that path.
那么这一段的这个描述呢，就是那一种的选择所有的一个结果。
And in truth, things usually start out simple and then get more difficult.
那么常常往往是起先好像很容易的，可是越来越复杂。
And yet this is not as rare as you might think.
这一点呢是各位常常你不能想得到的。
We live in a sort of orderly society where we don't expect that kind of talk.
我们活在一个有秩序的这个社会的里面，我们几乎不能够想象有这样的一个说法描述。
But I experienced the other side of that when I did my ministry in prison.
可是当我去监狱中间去传道的时候，就碰见这个情况。
I have to be careful. Sometimes I say when I was in prison.
有的时候我必须说明，不是我过去在监牢里头。
There was an instance where there was a group that was gathered in a prison, and one of the inmates did something inappropriate toward one of the young women.
在监牢里面，曾经有一件事件有一个人对着年轻的这个另外的一个犯人呢，行为举止不当。
So that some of the Christian men who were inmates in that prison had a meeting about what to do about it.
所以就在那个监牢里面有一些基督徒他们就说像对这样的一个人该怎么办。
And they apparently had read Acts chapter 5 with Ananias and Sapphira.
那个时候他们也许想到圣经里面提到的就是像使徒行传第5章亚拿尼亚跟撒非拉这个事件。
So they were ready to cast lots to decide which of them should put this fellow to death.
所以那个时候他们就说呢，我们要准备这个抽签了，然后谁把这个人先致死。
Obviously, the authorities stepped in.
当然，那个监牢当局呢就介入了，就没有允许这个事情的发生。
There was another time when the chaplain was there and an inmate came to tell of his troubles.
另外有一次在监牢里面这个传道的有一个牧师这个犯人跟他说，对不起。Okay.
We okay? So, as he described his situation, he told of someone who was being harsh and cruel to him.
当他描述像这个牧师描述情况是有人对他呢这个无理，有人对他呢这个严厉。
The chaplain's assistant was a member of the mafia.
那么这个监牢里头的牧师，他的助手过去是一个贩毒的。
I can't say it like he did, but it goes something like this.
我不能够像他这么说，但是他说的是这么样的。
Father, do you want I should take care of this?
那么这个黑手党的人就问这个传道人说：“这个神父啊，你要我这个来处理这个人吗？”
So the chaplain, to his credit, said, "I don't want anybody with concrete shoes."
What is that? Concrete shoe?
Yes. Hey, we're going for a swim in the deep.
这个神父就说：“我不需要任何人穿着一个沉重的鞋。” Is that from the scripture, meaning that you say something, you put a stone mill, on the...
Oh, a millstone? That would be, yeah, that's good.
Similar, right?
Why not?
Okay.
Yes, a millstone around his neck.
他说这个传道人说：“我不需要你把一个大磨石放在对方的颈项上，让他沉到水里头去。”
So here's some of the characteristics that we see.
所以在这里我们就看见有一些这些人描述的他们的这个品格所有的一些表现。
This way is promoted by sinners. The way of evil is promoted by sinners.
恶人之路是是从罪所产生的。
Dr. Walke says the better word is criminals.
有一位 Dr. Walke 解这段圣经的时候，他说应当翻译那个人是一个犯人所发起的这个路。
They were surely evil and violent men.
当然这些人是非常的邪恶，非常的满了暴力的。
Notice the promise was that of violence and bloodshed.
他们所有的这段经文刚才所读的呢，不过就是暴力，不过就是流人血。
And the plan was to take advantage of weak and helpless people.
他们的计划就是占这些软弱人的便宜。
Which is amazing because God cares especially for that kind of person.
但是神却顾念那些软弱的人。
So the one that God wants to protect is the one they want to victimize.
神所要保护的人，就是这些恶人想要让这些人成为他们的牺牲者的人。
Besides violence, they offered a sense of community. I call it the fellowship of fools.
除了他们要行暴行以外，他们就提供说来呀，你来参加我们，成为我们的伙伴。
In verse 11 of chapter 1, they say, "Come along with us."
第11节就说来投入在我们中间，跟我们同去。
So it would be very much like joining a gang.
好像你加入了这个帮派，他们的党派一样。
It's very much like what we see in the drug culture today.
很与今天的这些贩毒的这种的这些团体呢很相似。
There is a sense of community, but there's also a willingness to commit violence to be a part of that group.
成为他们中间的一员，你好像觉得你属于他们，可是呢，你也去行这些暴力、这些犯罪的事情。
It's the exact opposite of what the church is to be and to do.
那与在教会的团体中间来生活，那是完全相反的。
Listen to this text in Hebrews chapter 10, verses 23 through 25.
我们去注意到在希伯来书新约的里面第10章 verse
23 through 25.
Okay.
Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another.And all the more as you see the day approaching.
23节也要坚守我们所承认的指望，不致摇动，因为那应许我们的是信实的。又要彼此相顾，激发爱心，勉励行善。你们不可停止聚会，好像那停止惯了的人，倒要彼此劝勉。既知道那日子临近，就更当如此。
The path of sinners also offers adventure and excitement.
恶人的路，常常的他们也提供你你来参加我们的，会有很多的这些让你兴奋的这些事情。
That doesn't sound as surprising to me now as it did years ago.
这个对着我们今天来讲，不如过去所有的那么样的这个，好像让人兴奋。
Think of the violence on television.
去想到我们今天在电视里头的这些暴力节目。
Think of the violence in the computer games that our children play.
想一想我们孩子们所玩的电脑的游戏，中间所显出的许多的暴力。
To some people, violence is actually appealing.
对好些人来讲，他们就爱这一个。
It also offers material gain.
另外，这些恶人呢，就提供说你可以获得物质上的好处。
And it offers to do that by oppression.
他们给你这个提供这个好处，却是压制你的借着压制来叫你得了利益。
In other words, they're going to get their wealth from taking it away from those who are weak.
就是你去压制那些软弱的人，从他们身上你来得利。
When I was visiting a prisoner in jail, we talked about what would happen when he got out.
我们在监牢里传道的时候，常常的跟他们提到一点，有一天你出了监牢以后，你们该怎么办？
And he said it was possible when he got out that he could get a job.
他们就说他们出去以后， could get a job.
Yes.
OK， 他们可能得着工作。
But he said it was so much easier to go get a coin machine and break into it. He could get rich in an hour.
他说这个跟那个比起来，到一个那个存款机那里，把这存款机砸碎了，1小时之内他就有钱了。
That is the mindset of those who were on the way of evil.
那就是那些行恶的人他们的思想。
And you notice in the offer, there's no mention of the possibility of getting into trouble.
但是你注意，这些恶人给你提供这些的建议的时候呢，就都没有提到如果你被逮到怎么办。
Remember, the wise man is the one who looks ahead and sees the consequences.
你注意，圣经里面告诉我们，乃是智慧人往往去留心将来所有的结局是什么。
Those who are foolish only look at the possibilities of the moment.
那些恶人他们只顾眼前的，能得到什么。
So Proverbs is dealing with what looks like a possibility.
所以箴言在这里所处理的、所教导的是一些可能性会发生的。
Although it seems a little realistic, unrealistic, does it not?
虽然那好像是不很实际，不是吗？
How many of you have had somebody come up to you with an offer like this?
有多少人你听见别人给你这些的提议，说他要提供你这些呢？
Then I came to realize that in the Bible it's not unusual at all.
但是我注意到圣经里面却常常出现这样。
And I would also remind you that in our world today, there are certain places where this is not unusual at all.
也让我想起了今天在我们的世界中间，这一个也并不是少见。
But I'd like to read this passage to you from Isaiah chapter 59, verses 6 through 15.
现在呢，我要读以赛亚59章第6到15节这段圣经给你听。
Isaiah chapter 59, verses 6 through 15.
以赛亚书59章第6到15节。
And this is a description of what Israel has become like in the days when God is about to bring judgment upon it.
这段圣经描述的是以色列人，他们已经变成几乎要成这个样子，那么神的审判就要临到他们的时候的描述。
We read, their cobwebs are useless for clothing. They cannot cover themselves with what they make. Their deeds are evil deeds, and acts of violence are in their hands. Their feet rush into sin. They are swift to shed innocent blood. They pursue evil schemes. Acts of violence mark their ways. The way of peace they do not know. There is no justice in their paths. They have turned them into crooked roads. No one who walks along them will know peace. So justice is far from us, and righteousness does not reach us. We look for light, but all is darkness, for brightness, but we walk in deep shadows. Like the blind, we grope along the wall, feeling our way like people without eyes. At midday, we stumble as if it were twilight. Among the strong, we are like the dead. We all growl like bears. We moan mournfully like doves. We look for justice and find none, for deliverance, but it is far away. For our offenses are many in your sight, and our sins testify against us. Our offenses are ever with us, and we acknowledge our iniquities. Rebellion and treachery against the Lord, turning our backs on our God, inciting revolt and oppression, uttering lies our hearts have conceived. So justice is driven back, and righteousness stands at the distance. Truth has stumbled in the street. Honesty cannot enter. Truth is nowhere to be found, and whoever shuns evil becomes a prey. The Lord looked, and it was displeasing that there was no justice.
以赛亚59章6节，所结的网不能成为衣服，所做的也不能遮盖自己。他们的行为都是罪孽，手所做的都是强暴。他们的脚奔跑行恶，他们急速流无辜人的血。意念都是罪孽，所经过的路都荒凉毁灭。平安的路他们不知道，所行的事没有公平。他们为自己修弯曲的路，凡行此路的都不知道平安。因此公平远离我们，公义追不上我们。我们指望光亮，却是黑暗；指望光明，却行幽暗。我们摸索墙壁，好像瞎子； 我们摸索如同无目之人，我们晌午绊脚如在黄昏一样，我们在肥壮人中像死人一般，我们咆哮如熊，哀鸣如歌，指望公平却是没有，指望救恩却远离我们。我们的过犯在你面前增多，罪恶做见证告我们，过犯与我们同在。至于我们的罪孽，我们都知道，就是悖逆，不认识耶和华，转去不跟从我们的神，说欺压和叛逆的话，心怀谎言，随即说出，并且公平转而退后，公义站在远处，诚实在街上扑倒，正直也不得进入，诚实少见，离恶的人反成掠物。那时耶和华看见没有公平，甚不喜悦。
Don't turn that off yet. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
这段经文大家听起来是不是很熟？
It should, because Paul takes one of those verses and quotes it in Romans chapter 3.
这段经文应当听起来是听过，因为保罗在罗马书第3章里引用过。
In verses 10 through 18 of Romans chapter 3, Paul cites Old Testament texts.
保罗在罗马书第3章第10节到第18节，他就引用，他在那里背诵旧约的这段经文。
And all of those texts point to the sinfulness of God's people.
那一段的经文，保罗引用的就指出来神的百姓所有的罪。
That section begins with, "There is none righteous, not even one."
保罗所引用的经文开头的时候就说，没有义人，连一个也没有。
So that warning that is given to us in Proverbs is a description of us in Romans.
所以在以赛亚书刚才我们所读的，在保罗新约圣经里面却引用过来。
And that cruelty and that bloodshed and that violence are found throughout the Old Testament prophets.
在旧约的先知书中就警告以色列百姓他们的暴行、他们的残酷等等的光景。
You will find it in Isaiah chapter 1.
在以赛亚第1章的时候也提到。
You will find it again in Hosea chapter 4.
何西阿书第4章也提到。
And in Hosea chapter 6, he tells us that some of those who were committing murder were the priests.
何西阿书第6章说，那一些去行这些事的人竟然是祭司。
Here's the good news.
好消息是
God tells us that there is no way that people in that condition can be saved by themselves.
神告诉我们说，那些人他们自己救不了他们自己。
So listen to the next verse from the text we read in chapter 59 of Isaiah and verses 16 and 17.
所以我们就把刚才读以赛亚书的15节后头接下去来看。
He saw that there was no one. He was appalled that there was no one to intervene. So his own arm achieved salvation for him, and his own righteousness sustained him. He put on righteousness as his breastplate, and the helmet of salvation on his head. He put on the garments of vengeance and wrapped himself in zeal in a cloak.
第16节，他见无人拯救，无人代求，甚为诧异，就用自己的膀臂施行拯救，以公义扶持自己。他以公义为盔甲，以拯救为头盔，以报仇为衣服，以热心为外袍。他必按 until 18, right?
17.
17, okay.
So what we see is that man was in a condition that was so bad, he was not able to save himself.
我们看见人行恶到一个地步，他没有办法救自己。
But God himself would come to man's salvation.
但是我们却看见人却来拯救人，神却来拯救人。
And we know that happened in the person of Jesus Christ.
我们知道那就是耶稣来到地上所做的。
So that was the way of the wicked. Now let's look at the way of the wise.
这一些就是描述这个恶人所有的道路。那现在我们来看一看智慧人。
The way of wisdom is described as being spoken by parents.
这个智慧人这里所描述的乃是父母在这里所说的。
You young people need to understand that your parents really are wise.
年轻人你们要知道，你们的父母真的是有智慧。
They may not know how to run the TV remote control.
也许他们不会操作这个遥控电视的遥控。
They may not be good at texting.
也许他们不会发短信。
But they do know more about life than you do.
他们确实比你们更知道什么叫做生活、生命。
So the way of the wise spells out a description of the wicked and warns of the end of that path.
所以智慧在这里发生把那个道路指明给我们。
The way of wisdom leads to life.
这个智慧的道路引到生命。
In Proverbs 3 verse 16 we read, "Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor."
这个
3:16.
箴言第3章第16节告诉我们说，他右手有长寿，左手有富贵。
In verse 18 it says, "She is a tree of life."
18节说他是生命树，他有生命树。
Does that name Tree of Life ring a bell in your minds?
这个生命树在你的脑海中间是不是让你想起什么呢？
I find that very interesting when I think back of Genesis chapter 3.
当我回到创世纪第3章的时候，我发觉非常有兴趣。
In Genesis chapter 3 there was the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
创世纪3章提到生命树和分别善恶的知识树。
In Proverbs, the tree of life is the tree that describes for us good and evil.
但是在箴言里头提的生命树却是一个描述什么是善什么是恶的一棵树。
It is clear that the wisdom that is promised is the wisdom that comes from God.
这里所描述的智慧确实的是从神而来。
Proverbs chapter 2 verses 5 through 8.
箴言第2章verses
5 through 8.
第5到第8节。
Then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones.
你就明白敬畏耶和华，得以认识神，因为耶和华赐人智慧、知识和聪明，都由他口而出。他给正直人存留智慧，给行为纯正的人做盾牌，为要保守公平人的路，护庇前进人的道。
Wisdom that we're given is not only wisdom from God, it is wisdom that lets us come to know God.
智慧不单是从神而来，这个智慧人的路，而且智慧会引导我们到神面前。
Proverbs chapter 2 verse 5.
箴言的第2章第5节。
Then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God.
然后你就明白敬畏耶和华，得以认识神。
God's wisdom is the way that helps us to guard us from the way of trouble.
神的智慧是神要保守我们不去行恶。
Proverbs chapter 2 verses 7 and 8.
那是第2章的第7节、第8节所提到的。
He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless. For he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones.
他给正直人存留真智慧，给行为纯正的人做盾牌，为要保守公平人的路，护庇前进人的道。
Wisdom leads us to association with those who are wise.
智慧会引我们去与那些寻求智慧的人、有智慧的人在一起。
Proverbs chapter 2 verse 20.
那是在箴言的第2章第20节。
Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous.
智慧必使你行善人的道，守义人的路。
This one wasn't in your notes, but I'll read it to you. Proverbs 13:20. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm.
箴言13章不在你们的这个讲义上，第20节，与智慧人同行的必得智慧，和愚昧人作伴的必受亏损。
The wisdom which is offered is wisdom that isn't easily or quickly acquired.
这里所提到的智慧提供给我们的不是一个很容易就能够得着的。
Look at Proverbs chapter 2 verses 3 through 5.
我们再回到箴言的第2章第3节到第5节。
Make your ear attentive to wisdom. Incline your heart to understanding. For if you cry for discernment, lift your voice for understanding. If you seek her as silver and seek for her as for hidden treasure, then you will discern the fear of the Lord and discover the knowledge of God.
呼求明哲，扬声求聪明，寻找他如寻找银子，搜求他如搜求隐藏的珍宝，然后你就明白敬畏耶和华，得以认识神。
You remember when the Lord Jesus had people who offered to follow him, he made very clear to them that his way was not the easy way.
记得主耶稣警告那些要跟随他的人，他说我的路是不容易走的路，你要跟随的话。
I think we should learn something about evangelism here.
我想从主和这段话里面，我们能学习到传福音的这个智慧。
Sometimes we are tempted to make the gospel sound like something that is easy to accept, and that the Christian life is something easy to do.
有的时候我们传福音好像做基督徒很容易，告诉人很容易，这个做基督徒的走基督徒的道路也很容易。
That is not true to what we see in Proverbs or in the New Testament.
如果我们来读到箴言书，读到新约，我们知道那并不是如此。
Okay, in just a moment we're going to talk about the two women, Dame Wisdom and Madam Folly. But I see a couple of droopy eyes.
过一会儿我们就要来讲到智慧的妇人、愚昧的妇人，可是我看见有人可能眼皮往下耷了。
And so let's take a moment to stand up, stretch those legs,
请大家现在站起来，活动活动，举起手，深呼吸一下。
All right, I see a little more life out there than I did.
大家好像现在醒过来了。
So let's talk about the two women for a moment.
让我们现在来提到两种妇女。
One may wonder why they are women.
也许你读箴言书，你就会问说，为什么是妇女？
Years ago, I listened to a man who was a preacher, but he was single.
多年以前，我听见一个传道的人，一个弟兄，他是单身的。
And he made this statement.
他就说过这样的话。
Did you ever notice that when a man is seduced, it is always a woman?
他就说，你有没有注意到，当男人受引诱的时候，受引诱的对象往往是女人呢？
So I told a friend of mine about that.
所以我就把这一句话就告诉了我的朋友。
And he said, "Sounds just like a bachelor to me."
他说这个就是单身汉所说的。
The problem is he didn't understand that these women are symbols.
他不知道他这样说呢，不知道读箴言书里面所提到的是一个象征的说法。
It is not always a woman who causes a fall.
不是总是妇女，总是女人造成这个堕落的。
But a woman is a good symbol.
但是女人是一个好的一个代表，一个象征。
And notice it's a symbol of wisdom as well as a symbol of folly.
你注意箴言书用到女人的时候，它代表的是智慧，也代表的是在这里的这个愚昧。
Remember that Proverbs is from a father to a son.
你记得箴言书是一个做父亲的向儿子所说话。
And so one of the problems and the temptations a son may face is that of an immoral woman.
这个儿子所受到的试探其中之一就是从女人对着女人。
But women can be the source both of folly and great wisdom.
妇女可以是智慧，也可以是愚昧的。
We talked about Abigail in our last talk.
在上一讲里面，我们跟你提过亚比该这个女人妇女她所有的智慧。
We could talk about Jezebel today if we had time.
今天我们如果有时间，我们可以提一提耶洗别。
And we do remember that women were the source of Solomon's downfall.
我们知道妇女就是所罗门堕落失败的这个原因。
So when the Proverbs warn about a woman, she is a symbol.
所以在这里讲到，在箴言书讲到妇女是这个愚昧堕落，当然是一个象征的说法。
She's a symbol of other forms of temptation, but also can be a literal temptation as well.
它就是各种的试探这个引诱的这个象征。
So let's talk about Madam Folly.
我们先提一提这个愚昧的妇女。
Proverbs says that she is naive.
箴言告诉我们说，她是非常的天真，无知也是。
That is, she really is not appraised of where her actions are leading her.
她对着前面所有的，或者说把她引到那里去的，她的评估是非常的可以说是稀少的。
She is not only naive, but she also appeals to the naive.
他自己是无知，他却去向着那诉求于那些无知的人。
Folly is described as an unruly woman.
这个愚昧就是没有不受约束的妇女。
She is described as a woman who seeks to seduce.
这里描述这个愚昧的妇女，她去寻求怎么去勾引人。
So her appearance is seductive and sensual.
所以她的打扮就是很要勾引人的，充满了情欲的。
In chapter 6 and verse 25, we read these words.
在6章25节这样说。
Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes.
你心中不要恋慕她的美色，也不要被她眼皮勾引。
In chapter 7, she is also said to dress like a prostitute, even though she is an adulteress.
7章第10节说她打扮得像妓女她有很多的这种淫乱的这种心思。
So her attire is an attraction to do evil.
所以她的打扮就是去行这些恶事。
I don't ever feel comfortable giving advice to women about how they dress.
我对着给姐妹们建议你们该怎么穿衣服呢？我常常非常的犹豫
And the reason is that the women in my life are always telling me how to dress.
因为我过去像我年龄的这些妇女常常是对我有些警告忠告，该怎么穿衣服，怎么。
I do well when my socks match.
我注意到我的袜子要穿的是能够相对称相配的。
But I did notice an article on the news this week.
但是这个星期我注意到报纸上有一篇文章。
Apparently the prom season is upon us.
明显的就是最近的这些学校里面的舞会快要来临了。
And it would be a polite way of saying it that dresses are getting more and more daring.
Daring 那么这个我那么很明显的，现在的这个时代呢，就是让妇女穿的大胆一点呢，好像才是
You could say people are paying more and getting less.
你可以说现在人呢，就是花了更多的钱，可是你得到的是这个身上的这个尺寸是越少的。
I think the scriptures are clear that our conduct and our character should be matched by our apparel.
圣经里面告诉我们说，我们的行为跟我们的外表的穿着应当是相配的。
Both Paul and Peter have words of instruction to women about dressing modestly.
保罗和彼得都对着妇女的穿着打扮有所教导。
The woman of folly is also an adulteress.
这个愚昧的妇女，她也是一个像淫妇一样的。
And it's really clear in this text that makes her even more evil than a prostitute.
这段的描述呢，就描述她们比妓女还要更多的更恶。
Look at Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 26.
我们注意箴言6章26节这样告诉我们
For a prostitute can be had for a loaf of bread, but another man's wife preys upon your very life.
因为妓女能使人只剩下一块饼，而淫妇呢却猎取人宝贵的生命。
And the adulteress wants to make it clear that her husband is far away and won't come home soon. Proverbs 7 verses 18 through 20.
OK， 这个箴言7章18节到20节说：“你来，我们可以饱享爱情，直到早晨；我们可以彼此亲爱欢乐。”
She seduces with seductive speech.
她用一些引诱人、挑逗人的言语。
She flatters the young man.
她在那里这个挑逗这个年轻人。
She tells him that he especially was the one she was looking for.
她就告诉他说：“你就是我所寻找的。”
When she was watching for anybody that would walk by.
事实上，她是在那里注意每一个从她面前经过的人。
And her flattery, I think, is aimed at his ego.
她这样的挑逗人，是因为她的这个自大所引起的。
And she is adding to his arrogance.
她也把她的这个傲慢加在她的这个言语行为中。
I think arrogance and humility plays a great role in our lives when it comes to the two paths.
来到圣经里面所提到这两条路，我们是傲慢呢，或者是谦卑呢，常常就注定了我们去选择哪一条。
She speaks of love, but she has no love for her victim.
她说到爱，可是对她的那些受她这个影响的牺牲者却没有真正的爱。
This is not in your notes, but Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 20, I think, is helpful for us.
不在你们的讲义上面，箴言的第30章30
20,
right? Yeah. 30章20节告诉我们。
This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong.
淫妇的道也是这样，她吃了，把嘴一擦就说我没有行恶。
She makes her foreign religion especially attractive.
她使异邦的异教成为她的这个诉求的一部分。
Now you have to be careful if you're using an NIV at this point.
如果你用的是新国际版本的圣经，你这个时候要留心。
The NIV will talk about her as a strange woman or use some other word, but the word literally is the word foreign.
这个 NIV 所用的是，它是说你这个是一个NIV use strange.
It uses a word like strange.
是好像是一个陌生的一个奇怪的人，但是事实上他是一个。
Yeah, in our text it actually uses the word wayward, I think.
在我们这段圣经里面说到他是一个去偏离正道的人。
The word is the same word that is used for Solomon's foreign wives.
这个形容词也用到
Solomon's wives. Yes.
所罗门的那些的妻子，那是那些的被盗的那些人。
And remember, the great danger for Israelites was that they would have foreign wives who would lead them to follow their foreign gods.
以色列百姓的罪恶其中之一，就是他们娶了外邦的女子来作为妻子。
Madame Folly always assures her victim that there is no danger.
这些愚昧的妇人常常向她的牺牲者保证，你跟着我来，没有危险。
Her husband is far away on a long journey.
因为我丈夫不在家，出门了。
But the reality is the punishment is there and it is certain.
但是这个审判这个刑罚却是确定的。
In Proverbs chapter 6, it says that when a husband finds that his wife has been unfaithful, it's not very safe for the one who has been with her.
这个箴言6章27节那一段就说，当这个妇女说她丈夫不在家的时候，如果丈夫发现了的话，那么她所有的那个后果是非常的危险，要受刑罚的。
And that's just talking about physical punishment.
那里所说到的只是在身体上面所受到的刑罚。
She says there's no danger, but then she really makes danger a part of the appeal.
她说这个妇女说没有危险，事实上她却把这一个没有危险这件事情作为她诉求的理由。
In Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 17, we read these words.
在箴言的Chapter
9,
第9章第17节这么说。
It says, stolen water is sweet. And the NIV reads, food eaten in secret is delicious. The text actually says, bread eaten in secret is delicious.
中文圣经是说，偷来的水是甜的，暗吃的饼是好的。
Now, I want you to notice the contrast between the meal that is served by Madame Folly and the meal that is served by Dame Wisdom.
我们要注意那个愚昧的妇女所供给你吃的，跟智慧的妇女所供给你吃的的不同。
Look at Proverbs chapter 9 verses 1 through 3.
我们注意箴言的第9章的第1节9章第1节到第3节。
Wisdom has built her house. She has set up 7 pillars. She has prepared her meat and mixed her wine. She has also set her table. She has sent out her servants, and she calls from the highest point of the city.
智慧建造房屋，凿成7根柱子，宰杀牲畜，调和旨酒，设摆宴席，打发使女出去，自己在城中至高处呼叫。
Dame Wisdom is serving steak and ale. Steak and wine?
Using some southern accent and slang. Difficult to understand. 那个智慧的妇女她供给你吃的喝的酒。
And Madame Folly is offering bread and water.
那个愚昧的妇女是提供给你饼和水，你看这个对照。
But she says her water is better and her bread is better because it's stolen.
她说这个水是甜的，饼是好吃的，因为那是偷来的，那是暗暗的吃的。
She persuades her victims to act impulsively, to make a quick decision.
她就劝那些她所引诱的人，你要快的行动，你不要加以思考。
Proverbs says that is a deadly choice if you make it.
箴言告诉我们说，如果你做那一个选择的话，那是一个会让你受伤致丧命的。
She leads her victims to their death.
她是把她的这个牺牲者引到死亡的路上去。
Proverbs chapter 7 verses 25 through 27.
在箴言7章25节27节。
Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her paths. Many are the victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is the highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death.
你的心不可偏向淫妇的道，不要入她的迷途，因为她被他伤害扑倒的不少，被她杀戮的而且甚多，他的家是在阴间之路，下到死亡之宫。
Do you know of any other book of the Bible that speaks more plainly to the matter of pornography than this?
你知道圣经里面没有任何一卷书比这一卷书说的那么白，说到关于黄色这一件事情淫念的这个事情。
Pornography appeals to the visual stimulation of the watcher.
这个色情的描述是非常的好像历历在目。
Like Madame Folly, pornography is aggressive.
像这个愚昧的这个妇女，色情这个东西乃是非常的有这个攻击性的。
If you notice, there are possibilities that come up on your computer screen that you never asked for.
大家都知道，今天这个时代，常常在你的电脑上面，这个屏幕上面会跳出来一些东西，是你自己所没有预先预料到的。
Just a few moments ago, I did a small test so I could give you an illustration.
就在前不久我就做了一个测验，可以给你做例子。
I have a filter on my email.
在我的电子邮件中间，我安了一个过滤的这个程序。
So I turned to my junk mail section and counted the frame of those that first came up on my screen.
那么我就去到那个垃圾的这个信箱里面去找。
There were 21 that came up in my spam file.
有21封这种的信寄到那里头去。
12 of those 21 were sexual solicitations.
那么这个21个中间有12个是关乎色情的。
I've told my wife in the past, there are so many women that are after me.
我就告诉我的太太，有好多的这个女人呢，在追我。
She laughs as hard as you do.
然后她就大笑起来，像你们一样。
7 of those were in Chinese. Chinese email address.
How do you know they're Chinese?
A brother, I don't know. All I know is they were Chinese. What they said, I don't know.
他说那个其中呢有7封呢，是中国人所寄出来的。
Think about Madame Folly. She tries to persuade her victim to act quickly and impulsively.
你去注意那个愚昧的妇女，她就是要你冲动，要你快行动。
How easy is it to click that mouse?
你按一下那个滑鼠回应那个诉求，何等容易。
I know many people whose lives have been destroyed by pornography.
我知道多少人被色情的这些东西他们的生命被毁掉。
Some of those are preachers.
有一些甚至是传道人。
This book of Proverbs has a lot to say to us, and we ought to listen to it carefully when it speaks about Madame Folly.
箴言书里面提到这些关于愚昧的事有许多，我们需要郑重的去认识。
Okay, let's talk about Dame Wisdom.
我们现在来说那个智慧的妇女。
She is not described in terms of her physical beauty or in sensual terms.
这个妇女描述她不是她的打扮上面有多么引诱人，多么有情欲。
I said initially that her beauty was not emphasized.
我起先就说到她的外貌的美丽不是那里所强调的。
I think it is better to say that her character is her beauty.
我们却要说到她的品格是她的美貌。
And I think that's very evident in the woman that's described in the last chapter of Proverbs.
我们注意到箴言的最后一章说到那个有才德的妇人。
Let's look just at Proverbs 31 verses 30 and 31.
我们就去看到箴言31章的30节。
Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise in the city gate.
艳丽是虚假的，美容是虚浮的，为敬畏耶和华的是妇女必得称赞。Let's see, one second.
30 and 31.
她愿她享受操作所得的，愿她的工作在城门口荣耀她。
Dame Wisdom also appeals to the naive.
这个智慧的妇女也向那些无知的人来诉求。
But she appeals to them to turn from their simplicity and their folly.
但是她的动机是让那一些人无知呢，能够回转成为有智慧的人。
Look at Proverbs 8, verse 5.
我们看看箴言8章第5节。
She says, You who are simple gain prudence. You who are foolish, set your hearts on it.
愚蒙人呢，你们要会悟灵明；愚昧人呢，你们当心里明白。
Madam Folly's mouth is slippery. It's as slippery as oil, Proverbs says.
这个箴言里面告诉我们说，这个愚昧的妇人，她的嘴是油嘴滑舌，是好像这个非常的滑的流动的。
When Dame Wisdom speaks, she speaks the truth.
一个智慧的妇女，她所说的却把真理真实说出来。
Look at Proverbs chapter 8.
我们看看箴言第8章。
Verses 6 through 8.
从第6到 verses 6
through 8.
第6到第8节。
Listen, for I have trustworthy things to say. I open my lips to speak what is right. My mouth speaks what is true. For my lips detest wickedness. All the words of my mouth are just. None of them is crooked or perverse.
你们当听，因我要说极美的话，我张嘴要论正直的事，我的口要发出真理，我的嘴憎恶邪恶，我口中的言语都是公义，并无弯曲乖僻。
I think it's obvious that Madame Folly seeks to flatter her victims. You can't say the same for Dame Wisdom. Her words are humbling words.
说到愚昧的妇女，她乃是在那里挑逗人的但是这个智慧的妇女却说真实的话。
Those who would follow her must begin by acknowledging that they are those who are simple.
有一些跟随她话的人，他们要承认他们确实是无知的。
That doesn't do wonders for one's ego.
那一个承认自己是无知的，却不是说到这个人会影响他的这个自尊。
What she offers is far superior to silver and gold.
他所说的话比金和银更有价值。
She embraces the fear of the Lord.
他拥抱敬畏耶和华这件事。
She says in Proverbs 9 verse 10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
在箴言9章第10节，他说敬畏耶和华是智慧的开端。
She has the wisdom by which kings need to rule.
他有的智慧是做君王的，要得着好让他们能够治理。
Look at Proverbs 8 verses 15 and 16.
我们注意箴言第8章15
and 16, right.
第15、16节。
By me kings reign and rulers issue decrees that are just. By me princes govern and nobles, all who rule on earth.
帝王借我做国位，君王借我定公平，王子和首领，世上一切的审判官都是借我掌权。
Her path is righteousness and justice.
她的路是公义的、公平的。
And she bestows wealth.
并且她愿意赐给人货财。
And she talks like someone more than just a woman.
这个智慧的妇女的言辞比一个妇人所讲的话更显得更多。
It is wisdom that speaks to us in Proverbs chapter 8 verses 27 through 31.
在箴言第8章27节到31节所说的话。
I was there when he set the heavens in place, when he marked out the horizon on the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above and fixed securely the fountains of the deep, when he gave the sea its boundary so the waters would not overstep his command, and when he marked out the foundations of the earth. Then I was constantly at his side. I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in his presence.Rejoicing in his whole world and delighting in mankind.
他立高天，我在那里；他在渊面的周围画出圆圈，上使穹苍坚硬，下使渊源稳固，为沧海定出界限，使水不越过他的命令。 立定大地的根基。那时我在那里，他那里为工师，日日为他所喜爱，常常在他面前踊跃，在他为人预备可住之地，也喜悦住在世人之间。
So let me make a few observations and comments about these women.
所以让我来对着这些的妇女做一些观察评论。
This is the warning of the parents to the child.
这是对着做父母的怎样来教导他们的儿女所有的一个警告。
It is the warning of the dangers of the path of evil, but the good of the path of righteousness.
这是一个做父母的要给儿女警告他们，如果跟从愚昧将来所有的结果，跟从智慧将来所有的结果。
It is a preventative warning and instruction.
这一些的警告都是预防性的。
As parents, we need to warn our children about the dangers ahead.
作为父母，我们需要警告孩子们前面所有的危险。
Notice here that the path of folly is not brought about by poverty.
Is that what?
The path of folly is not brought about by poverty. I'll explain that in a minute.
OK， 那注意这个愚昧的这个妇女，她的所提到的。
Let me say it again.
Okay.
Our society says that people resort to crime because they are poor and they have needs.
我们今天的社会说人会犯罪是因为他们贫穷。
Proverbs does not mention poverty as the source of sin.
箴言却没有告诉我们说人今天犯罪是因为人贫穷。
It tells us that the righteous indeed may be poor.
告诉我们说一个正直人，一个义人，他可能贫穷。
It is the attraction of evil itself that is addressed.
乃是罪恶的本身来吸引人、引诱人去犯罪。
And remember, some of those who are being warned are the sons of the richest man in the world.
有一些这里的警告是对着世界上面的那些富有的人的这个子女。
But these texts do tell us that the temptation of sin is often subtle and seductive.
但是这些经文告诉我们说，这个试探人、引诱人的这些的话，常常是非常的阴险的。
It is very clear to me that this whole matter of wisdom is really about God.
所以整个的说到这里的智慧，事实上就是说到关于神的事情。
Biblical wisdom is inseparable from a relationship without a relationship with God.
圣经的智慧与人跟神中间的关系是不可分的。
Parental instruction points out to the children where the paths end.
这个父母给儿女的教導where the
path of each path ends.
那就告訴子女們說，這個將來的道路的結局是什麼。
Now, what I want you to see is that there are two paths that are described.
我要你們看見的是，這裡描述的兩條路徑。
The path of righteousness leading to life and the path of sin leading to death.
這個義人之路引到生命，這個惡人之路領到死亡。
And the child is at the point of decision, which is chapter 1, verse 7.
箴言1章7節說到這個孩子正在決定他要走哪條路。
Which says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
那裡說敬畏耶和華是智慧的開端。
I want to talk just a little bit more as we close about what the fear of the Lord means.
我要說一點關於什麼是敬畏神，在我們結束這段講以前。
And I must warn you, this is not in your notes.
我要先警告你們，這個提醒你們，這不在你們講義裡頭。
I want to follow the history of the fear of the Lord in the Old Testament to this point in time.
我要回顧一點舊約裡面講到敬畏神這件事，一直到箴言書這個為止。
In other words, when the author talks about the fear of the Lord, what would people understand from Genesis up to the time of King David?
換句話說，在聖經裡面，創世紀一直到大衛王的時候，人對着敬畏神所有的理解是什麼？
I think it all begins in Genesis chapter 3.
我相信那從創世紀3章開始的。
Genesis 1 and 2 describe for us the creation of the world by God.
創世紀1、2章說到神起初怎麼創造世界。
Genesis chapter 1 describes creation moving from chaos and disorder to cosmos or order.
我们看见创世纪跟我们说，起先地是渊面黑暗，是混乱的，神怎么样带进来的，创造了一个有规律的宇宙。
And at the end of each step, God declares that to be good.
那么他每一个创造的结束，神就宣告那是好的。
Genesis chapter 2 focuses on what is not good.
创世纪第2章就集中说到什么是不好。
Remember, it talks about the fact that there was no rain.
记住那个时候还没有下过雨。
And so God solved that problem by giving rivers to irrigate.
所以神就创造了河流来作为灌溉。
It said that there was no plant, and so God planted a garden.
那个时候也没有树木，所以神就创造了一个园子。
It said that there was no one to cultivate it, and so God put Adam and Eve to tend the garden.
那么圣经告诉我们说，那个时候还没有人去耕种，所以神就创造亚当夏娃去耕种。
And then God observed that there was no wife to correspond to Adam like all the animals had.
那么圣经也告诉我们说，那时候亚当没有一个人帮助他，所以神就创造了夏娃作为他的妻子。
And so God provided a beautiful wife.
所以神就为亚当预备了一个美丽的妇女。
So Genesis chapter 1, what God creates is good.
创世纪第1章，神创造的都是好的。
Genesis chapter 2, the things that aren't good, God fixes until they're great.
创世纪第2章，那个不好的，神把它修正好了。
So I think we could say that God is the best judge of what is good and what is not.
我们相信神的判断是最好的。
So we come to Genesis chapter 3.
然后我们来到创世纪第3章。
And God says, here is a tree which is not good and not to be touched.
是这里有一棵树，这个树是不好的，
Here is
不要去摸它。
Here is the tree which brings life, and that is good.
这里有一棵树，那是好的，能够带下来许多的果子。
So God has made good and evil a simple choice between one tree and another.
所以神把简单的选择一个不好的树，一个好的树摆在人面前。
Satan enters the scene and creates doubt about the goodness of God.
魔鬼撒旦却来到这一个场景中间，把一个怀疑神这个思念放在人的心中。
He suggests that God is withholding something that is really good from Adam and Eve.
他在那里暗示神呢，在那里留了一些对人是好的，不给你。
And he represents the tree of the knowledge of good and evil as something which is desirable and should be partaken
在
of.
那里就让人说，神让这个分别善恶的知识树是好的，神不让你去摸。
So now that Eve has come to doubt the goodness of God, she decides it is wiser to trust herself than it is to trust in God.
所以魔鬼撒旦就让亚当的妻子夏娃这个时候对着神的良善起了怀疑，以至于他不相信神了，就相信自己了。
And we all know the result of the eating of that forbidden fruit.
那我们都知道，那个时候呢，这两个人他们就吃了神禁止他们吃的树，这样的果子。
So when you come to the book of Exodus, you discover that God is going to begin to demonstrate His goodness and His greatness.
我们来到出埃及记，在那里我们就看见再一次把神的良善、神的伟大在那里显出来。
So you remember that Israel has now become a slave in Egypt.
我们知道那是以色列百姓在埃及作为奴隶，
And God is going to deliver His people from their slavery.
神要把百姓从奴隶之地拯救出来。
And in Genesis chapter 5 and verse 2, God says that He is going to demonstrate that He is God above all the gods of the land of Egypt.
You mean Exodus, not Genesis.
Did I say Genesis, Exodus? I'm sorry.
Okay. 是出埃及记第5章那里，神告诉摩西要去向法老说，要显明他自己把百姓拯救出来以及他的伟大。
And so in I'm doing it again, help me. In Exodus chapter 12, God makes it clear that when He delivers the Israelites through the plagues, He's going to demonstrate that He is above all of the gods of the land of Egypt.
出埃及记第12章，神在那里借着各样的灾，是让法老，是让当事人明白神是怎样的与其他的假神不一样，神是独一伟大的。
So it is likely that each one of the plagues that God brought upon Egypt was actually a mockery of their God.
每一个灾 都是对着埃及地所拜的假神的一个嘲讽。
And so when God finally leads the Israelites through the Red Sea, in Exodus chapter 15, we see them praising him.
所以终于在出埃及记15章，当百姓跨越过了红海以后，他们在那里发出赞美神的歌。
The Israelites praise God, saying, "Who is like you among the gods?"
以色列百姓说：有何神像你？
Our God is the God that is greater than any other God. In fact, they do not exist.
我们的神比其他所有的偶像，事实上他们不是神，我们的神都要更伟大。
He demonstrates his power through the plagues.
他借着这些的灾难显明出来他的能力。
He demonstrates his power through the crossing of the Red Sea and the destruction of the Egyptian army.
借着过红海把埃及的这些军兵毁灭，来显明神的能力。
He demonstrates his greatness by taking his people into the wilderness where there is no food or water, and he provides for them there.
把百姓带到旷野，在那里没有水、没有吃的，神在那里供应他们，显明他的能力。
So that when God gives the law in Exodus chapter 20, he has proven to his people that he is worthy of their trust.
所以来到出埃及记20章，当神把律法赐给百姓的时候，神就证明过去的这些经历，证明他是蛮有能力的。
He's also worthy of their obedience.
他也值得百姓来顺服他。
But you remember the Israelites sinned.
但是我们却记得以色列百姓仍然犯罪。
So in Exodus chapter 32, the Israelites set up a golden calf and they worship it while Moses is still up on the mountain.
所以出埃及32章，当摩西还在山上的时候，百姓在山下就造了一个金牛犊，在那里就犯罪了。
God threatens to wipe out the entire nation and to make a new nation through Moses.
神在那里就警告威胁百姓，他要把整个以色列人这个灭绝，借着摩西的后代能创造出一个新的一个国家来。
Moses mediates between the people and God relents concerning the evil that he has spoken of.
摩西向神哀求，代表百姓向神哀求悔改，所以神在那里应允了摩西，并没有把百姓毁灭。
So when God delivers Israel through all of these things and demonstrates his goodness, and he now demonstrates his mercy. He said that he is a God of grace and mercy and compassion, that he's willing to forgive. And so this great God is not only a God who judges sin, he is a God who gives grace.
在出埃及记里让我们显明看见神的能力，同时也显明神是一个满了怜悯、满了恩典的神。
The fear of the Lord at that point in time was the recognition of the greatness of God, the greatness of his wrath, and the greatness of his grace.
那么这个显明神，这个敬畏神，百姓敬畏神，乃是百姓承认神是有能力的，神的这个恩典是值得这个称颂的。那么神的恩典的本身就是值得人来敬拜。
The great text on the fear of the Lord is in Psalm 34.
关于这个敬畏神这件事情，是在诗篇的第34篇里面给我们看见的。
In Psalm 34, there's a superscription that says, this is the time when David feigned madness before Abimelech.
那么诗篇34篇有一个篇题说，大卫在亚比米勒面前装疯，被他赶出去，就作这诗。
Abimelech is a title that means king, something like Pharaoh does in Egypt.
亚比米勒事实上是一个这一个称呼，是一个称号，就像法老是埃及王的称号一样。
So we believe this is the occasion when he was actually pretending to be crazy before the king whose name was Achish.
我们相信这是大卫在写这篇诗的时候这个背景。
So in Psalm 34, he says, I'm going to tell you what the fear of the Lord is.
诗篇34篇，大卫在这里要告诉我们什么叫做敬畏神。
Look with me at verse 11 of Psalm 34.
我们来看第11节。
Psalm 34:11. Come, you children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Who is the man who desires life, who loves length of days, that he may see good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are toward the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. The face of the Lord is against evildoers, to cut off the memory of them from the earth. But the righteous cry, and the Lord hears, and he delivers them out of all their troubles.
11节开始，众弟子啊，你们当来听我的话，我要将敬畏耶和华的道教训你们。有何人喜爱存活，爱慕长寿，得享美福，就要禁止舌头不出恶言，嘴唇不说诡诈的话，要离恶行善，寻求和睦，一心追赶。耶和华的眼目看顾义人，他的耳朵听他们的呼求。耶和华向行恶的变脸，要从世上除灭他们的名号。义人呼求，耶和华听见了，便救他们脱离一切患难。
Saul was trying to kill David, and so David fled for his life.
扫罗王要杀大卫，所以大卫就逃跑躲避他。
He fled to Achish in the land of the Philistines.
大卫就逃到这个非利士人之地。
Somebody reminded the king about the story of David and Goliath.
就有人就记得大卫杀死歌利亚的事。
And the king began to be afraid.
所以让非利士王心里面就开始害怕。
Things did not look good for David.
那个时候对大卫的情况非常不好。
From what we know, from what David says in Psalm 56, he was greatly afraid.
从诗篇的56篇里面，我们看见大卫是极其害怕。
So you remember he lets his drool run down his beard, and he goes around like a crazy man. And the king thinks that he doesn't need somebody like that around, and he sends them away.
你记得那个时候大卫呢，在那里流出这个口水这个到他的胡须上面，像一个疯子一样，所以就借着这样的让这个王就讨厌他。
That was not a moment of which David was proud.
那个时候大卫并不是以那个为荣的。
But I think he came to realize that he had done that out of the fear of man.
那个时候他明白，他所以那样的行为是因为他怕人。
And the change came about when he realized that those who fear God have no reason to fear men.
那么后来他就发现说呢，这个敬畏神的人不应当惧怕人。
And the reason that he could fear God is because God is so great.
他所以能够敬畏神，因为神是伟大的。
The reason he could confess to God is because God is so forgiving.
他能够向神来认罪，因为神是一个愿意赦免人的神。
So David does that, and he trusts in the Lord.
所以大卫在那个时候他信靠神。
And he gives us the lesson about the fear of the Lord, which keeps us from fearing men.
他那时候，所以在诗篇34篇里面就告诉我们说，敬畏神的人敬畏神强似害怕人。
So what is the fear of the Lord?
什么是敬畏神？
The fear of the Lord is recognizing the greatness of our God.
敬畏神就是承认神的伟大。
It is recognizing the greatness of His righteousness.
是在那里承认他的这个公义的伟大。
It is recognizing the greatness of His anger.
也是在那里承认神的愤怒的伟大。
And of His judgment.
他的审判的伟大。
And it is recognizing the greatness of His grace in forgiveness.
并且在那里承认他的恩典，他的赦免。
So when one comes to fear the Lord, they come to trust and obey Him.
所以当人真的敬畏神的时候，人会来信靠，会来顺服神。
The fear of the Lord is trusting in God for who He is and obeying God for what He says.
敬畏神乃是承认神的所事，并且顺服他所说的话。
The decision to trust in Him is the decision which puts us on the path of righteousness and the path to knowledge.
当我们决定来信靠神的时候，就引我们走到这一个智慧的路上。
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
这个敬畏耶和华是智慧的开端。
Okay, I took 7 minutes more of your time, so thank you for being patient, and we'll see you tomorrow.
我多用了各位6分7分钟时间，但是明天我们来继续。